Pero no sé.
Every day when every day when every day when
Tengo fondo.
Pause it. Pause it. Alrighty.
every day
Give me 1 second. How are you, Eduardo? How is everything?
Hi, Ramon, my friend. Everything is okay. How are you by your side?
I'm okay. I think it's been a little bit of a strange month overall, and things are a little bit wacky on my end, but it's okay. Here, let me just. Okay. Okay, there we are. Much, much better. I can hear you okay. Can everybody hear me okay out there?
Yes, I think yes.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Eduardo. I was trying to keep the theme music going, and I'm glad to be able to keep that ritual in line. Eduardo, how are you today? Happy Saturday.
I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm here in my house today. I won't go to the office, and it's made me feel, relaxed because I have space for me, for doing my personal stuff. For example, I'm going to try to order all my information in Notion because I did this week. I see that my information is very disordered, so I'm going to try to order everything. I am going to do back out of all my information, my close information in my physical device because who knows. And that I'm planning to do that tomorrow. I'm going to go for a little treat with my mom, with my cousin, and so today I'm going to sleep early. I won't go to any party, and I will stay in my house quiet, like adult person.
I hear you, man. Those weekends are to recharge, to recalibrate, to prepare for the next week to come. And yeah, I mean, especially like I said earlier, just this year, 2024 has taken off a little bit on the wrong side of the mattress, like they say. But either way, we are here for it. Thank you all for joining me on this live stream. Again, I do apologize if the week before last week we were off for a week or two just to get our minds right, just to kind of reset and make sure that we are able to continue to deliver for you all as we continue this live streaming journey. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Wes holding me down all the way in Nigeria and everybody on that side of the globe. Anybody in the Asia area, in the Middle East, in Europe, Africa as well, like I mentioned. Also, back home on the America side, North America, South America, anyone in the Caribbean, just all across the world. Australia, there's so many places, so many countries. Forgive me if I miss somewhere, but anyone tuning in from anywhere around the world, we come together. We don't claim to be experts on none of these topics. We're just talking as friends, educating each other, practicing our English, and that's how we grow and that's how we become better, right? But either way, today we have a little bit of an interesting topic. If you have not heard yet, there is a total solar eclipse that is on April 8th. Eduardo, have you heard about this?
Yes, I've seen that. I heard that it's going to be an eclipse. I don't know if it's good to speak eclipse.
A solar eclipse.
Solar eclipse. Yes, solar eclipse. Or here in Peru, in Latin America, we say eclipse in Spanish, right? But suppose in English it's solar eclipse. Yes, I have. You know what? I never have seen one of them, but I know that many people, prepare to do it, right? So they even join to do it, but I'm not too fanatic. I not. It's not something interesting for me. I know that it's phenomenal and it's very atypical because it passes only from time to time, and that the space between one and another is long, but I personally don't very, so interested in see that. But
Okay.
it's going to be very, very funny if I see one of them.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I have seen solar eclipse as a child. As a child, of course, a little less interested in them. I was kind of just like, oh, haha, wow, who cares, But now that I'm older and I have a little more information, I can look at them from a different point of view. I've learned a lot about them. I've looked into them. So April 8th, there will be it's called total solar eclipse. But this eclipse is only going to be fully visible along a path. So the path begins in Mexico and it goes diagonally across the United States and it ends in Canada. To see it in its totality, 100%. Me being in Florida, I'll be able to see not the whole thing, but a percentage of it. And what happens is the moon kind of aligns right in front of the sun. And then the shadow of the moon is, is reflected on the earth. So the whole earth kind of goes dark for a
Yes.
couple moments.
You
That's
know,
pretty
you know
interesting.
what? Did you know what's interesting about these phenomena that expressing many cultures? For example, I have seen that. Sorry, I have seen that. For example, many cultures describe this event and they give different interpretation. For example, some of them have religion interpretation, or some myths, some legends. So it's part of this history, right? So I feel that this kind of event has been present in our history through all our history, and it's we know because we interpret all they say, and we say, I know this is a phenomenon because you have to give some scientific explanation to these events. So in the past, maybe they confuse and they say, no, this mythology, this phenomenon is related with these another stories in the past.
Yeah, because astronomy, which is space, is where we all relate, where we all come together because we all have the same space. You can live in Peru, you can be anywhere in the world, but when we look up, we see the same moon, same stars, same sky. So this event is very, I love it because the whole world connects, right? No matter where you are, this can be interesting to you. You can relate to this, even though not everyone is going to be able to see it at the same time. And by the way, I did not forget about my people. According to what I read, in November 25, 2030, the total solar eclipse will occur in Africa and Australia, and I believe parts of Asia. All right. So in 2030, the total solar eclipse will appear on the other side of the Earth. So I guess this time it's our turn, and in a few years, it'll be the other side of the world's turn to visualize this eclipse. Now, when I was a kid, we just went outside and looked at it. I don't remember so much preparation, but these days you got to be a little careful. So when you go to see this eclipse, you have to protect yourself, protect your eyes from the sun, because the sun can damage your eyes. And if you are not careful, it could damage them permanently. So I purchased some solar eclipse glasses. How do you know the glasses you're wearing are good? You need to look for ISO and the number 12312-2. All right. This ISO is what lets us know that these glasses are certified and authentic and will protect us if we want to sun gaze or if we want to watch the solar eclipse without any trouble or any eye issues.
Yes, yes, because you have to be very careful with that because many people don't know and they just, they see all time and they don't know that they can damage their eyes, their vision. So it's very dangerous.
Yeah, ISO stands for International Organization Standardization. ISO, you'll see it right on the
Yes.
on the
This is
glasses.
what I sell, remember, in my company.
And why don't you have any ready for us for the solar eclipse? I am ashamed of you, Eduardo.
No,
Just kidding.
but remember that not all ISO is certified. For example, I do not certify,
Absolutely.
so I know all of the ISO. One of them is only some guidelines to you apply in your company, but doesn't mean that you have to certify. So it's a word.
Yes, you're definitely right. There are some not like fake ones, knockoffs. So just be careful and make sure that you are taking the extra steps to make sure that you have the correct glasses. Because you, of course, I mean, I know we all want to see the eclipse, but I don't think it's worth going blind. Even the other day, I put them on and I looked at the sun for like 2 seconds. And a little bit after, like, my head felt a little fuzzy. I'm like, yo, man, I don't know about this eclipse, man. I'm not trying to get sick or get any eye damage, just trying to watch the sun. But let me give a shout out to the chat real quick. I know a lot of our regulars are here today. Shout out to Milik. Milik, always first in line. Shout out to you. Always good to see you. Peace. We are doing great. How are you today? The prophetess Peace. How are you? Talking to us from South Africa. Much love to all of you. We're doing great. Shout out to Jerry. And shout out, of course, to our friend, our family friend, Wes. Wes said that animals can behave strangely during a solar eclipse. Also, forgive me if you hear my phone going off, but right now I'm live on TikTok also. So whoever it is just going to have to wait. But yes, Wes, I also heard that during this eclipse, now going into my next little subtopic. So with this solar eclipse comes some conspiracies. I just explained like what it is on the surface, like
Yes.
just so people know what it is and what exactly they're going to experience. But along with it, there's like people think that certain things are going to happen on this day. Things outside of just the moon blocking the sun, right? And getting a shadow on the earth. More than that, this might have an effect on the earth, on people. Some have even connected it to like biblical
Yeah.
scriptures. Eduardo, what have you heard about this? And as you
Well,
talk, I'm gonna try to shut down, lower the volume on my phone real quick. Go ahead.
I know that many people relate this kind of event with a mix of, conspiration, religion, interpretation. I don't know, many another significance that they give to this kind of event. For example, I remember personally, I remember one time when I was here in my city. It was about 5 years ago, and suddenly a store appeared in the city that was very very rare here in Lima, for example, in Peru, and suddenly the sky where appear many clouds, and a store appear, and there are some thunder, and people start to say, "Oh, it's a devil that is come for us. It's the end of the world." And I say, seriously? But it's I know many people can give you this kind of apocalyptic interpretation, right? But it's because this belief is often because I don't know, social media, some theory, some people that try to sell panic to another. But I think that more people have to see, have to learn, have to find information about why this happening, right? It's something normal. They got to see the story, they got to see the past, and to see that it's something that passed, and nothing bad happening after that. So I think that people have to be more critical thinking.
Okay, but now, as we were getting closer to this solar eclipse, everyone starts talking, everybody starts thinking of what could happen. People start making little predictions, trying to figure this out. But now what happens? Couple earthquakes
Ah,
have
yes.
emerged in certain places. We had a huge earthquake first in Taiwan, and this earthquake was of 7.2 magnitude. Now, I'm not an earthquake expert, but from what I know, the Richter scale is how you measure an earthquake and how strong it can be. Now, this was a 7.2. According to Wikipedia, a 7.0 to a 7.9 is a major earthquake, causes damage to most buildings, some to partially or completely collapse or receive severe damage. Well-designed structures are likely to receive damage felt across most of the country. This is from Wikipedia as it describes what a major earthquake would feel like. And this is what happened in Taiwan. So prayers to everybody in Taiwan. Did you hear about this, Eduardo?
Or I hear because Peru, it's a place where it's this part of this line on the map that we have this event, right, where the plague crash, and they produce this airport. So we, for example, suffer on the year, we suffer 2 or 3, significant airport here in Peru. We have to be very very careful about this, because it's normal that when happenings in one place have other implications in place, that with this kind of part of the software airport, right? So but I personally do not enter in panic. What I do when this happens, I just go out as much quickly as I can, but with calm. And and of course it's dangerous, because here in Peru, all the edification, all the house were built by own people, and they are very informal. So they do not they do not do as the ruler say. They do as they want, as they can. So this could be very 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 dangerous, because when an earthquake comes, these structures are not prepared, right? And
An
they
earthquake.
yes, they fell with, and it's very dangerous. So of course I saw the video in Thailand, but I know that Thailand is a country.
Taiwan.
Taiwan, sorry.
Taiwan.
I know that Taiwan is more prepared than Peru, so I know that it haven't been so destroyed. Like for example, if it would have been here, right?
Got it. How many earthquakes have you been through, Eduardo, in
In my
Peru?
life, for example, the one of them that was very strong was about eight grades, and it happened when I was about 16 years. 16
In
years.
eighth grade.
Yes. And I remember that I was in the school and it's happening that everything started to move and the lights turned off because some part of the structure damaged and all the city was without electrification. And when you want to call, you can because everyone started to call and the line collapses. And remember that I have to return to my house. I was on the school, so I couldn't get car because all the car was empty. The traffic was awful because everyone started to return to their house, and was an experience very very funny because my sister haven't gone to the school. My father thought that she was going to the school, but she never gone. And she returned to my house 2 hours later, and everyone said, "Where did you go? Where did you stay?" And everyone know that she wasn't stay at the home at the school. But very funny because we were teenagers in all that time, right? But it was very strong. And another strong earthquake, no, we don't have. I haven't experienced.
Got it.
But that is where collapsed a city because on the epicenter, on the place that earthquake bore, all the city destroyed and many people died. Many.
Yeah, because a very important statement that I heard was earthquakes don't kill people, the buildings kill people, right? Because, or hurt people. Because if you are in a house, in a building, it can fall on top of you. If you were in an empty field by yourself and you're just shaking around, I mean, you might be okay. Much better if you were inside of a building or a large structure. Then you also have, because mind you, earthquakes occur when the plate tectonics shift. All right. I'm
Yes.
not a scientist here, but I've learned that the earth is made of plates. Because at one point, as I've mentioned before, the world had one supercontinent called the Pangea, where all the continents were all together and it was one big piece of land. Through time, these pieces of land have shifted through earthquakes because that's what happens when the plates shift. That's how mountains occur. I was reading about on the Pacific side by California, by Mexico. There's an area called the Ring of Fire, which is where most earthquakes occur and the strongest ones because there's like, I guess, a plate tectonic there that's really big that, stretches for a long way. And then, mind you, I don't know exactly how all the plates are connected, but one earthquake on one side of the earth, if it moves, it might affect something on the other side, depending on on how the shift is. Very, very interesting. Again, I apologize. I'm not an earthquake expert. I just try my best to educate myself as much as I can on these topics that we discuss every Saturday here with Eduardo. I
Uh,
got someone in the chat, Paisa, asking, "How are you, Eduardo?" People in the
but
chat shouting you out. Good to see you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were gonna say something?
do you know what? Do you know that I have studied civil engineer, right? So on my course, I take a course on my university. I took a course about anti earthquakes, something like that, right? Anti movement, something like that. But in Spanish, it's anti seismic. In this course, you learn how this affects. For example, if your house is buildings on a kind of rod, and this rod have of course an strength, your house don't affect too much. But if your house is building, for example, in sands, in near to the beach, and the ground is sands, there are different phenomena. Like for example, the sands are act like a liquid. So when the earthquake come, the sands, lose their strength, and the behavior is like a liquid. So the house goes goes to down, and you can't, die because all quickly down. For example, near to the beach. That's why here in Peru, near to the beach, you can build too much too much floors. The maximum is 2 floors. If you go to a beach here in Peru, you can find any building more than 2 floors. If your base is sands, because when the earthquake comes, the sands behave like a liquids, and everything's destroyed. But if your house is in the highlands, and it's the ground is rock, so you don't have problem, because the rock is stronger, right? So when the earthquake comes, the rock resists, but the sands no. So you have to be very careful.
Yeah, if your foundation is sand, it may not be very strong. Now, very important thing that I forgot to mention. Now, another earthquake also occurred in a place where not many earthquakes occur, and it's not normal here. In the Northeast, specifically Lebanon, New Jersey, which is like the tri-state area, New York City, Connecticut, New Jersey. In that area, they experience let me see, a 4.8 earthquake, which according to the Richter scale, a 4.0 to 4.9 is considered light, noticeable shaking, things falling off the shelves, but no big damages were reported. But of course, this is a little scary because sometimes you might get one little shake that might prepare for a bigger one. Same way, if you get an earthquake, you have aftershocks, little shakes. Mind you, plates are shifting. It's Mother Nature. And Mother Nature has a sense of humor with us. And she just has a way that we do not understand, right? There's things that need to happen for the earth to become better, for it to grow. Things way outside of our understanding. Because what do? We, I don't want to curse. I've been doing good at not cursing. We mess up the earth. We pollute it. We throw trash. We put smoke. So Mother Nature has to come around every now and then
Yes, but do
and
you know
make it
what?
right.
There are many another phenomena that happen during the earthquake. For example, that the earthquake can provoke, or,
Hold on.
or can,
Question. The
or
earthquake.
the earthquakes. Yeah, the earthquakes.
Okay, earthquake. Okay, we'll work on that. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
The earthquake can cause another problem. Like for example, if you see that the last earthquake that happened is in in Howling City, that is in Taiwan, it for example provoked the, some growth, uh, so some mountain roads, and can't, crash people. And there are another flooding, for example, and network can damage some generation of I don't know, of some rivers. And the river can, this containing that the river can broke, and all the water can affect people. Or tsunami is related to earthquakes when it's happening near to the coast. So it's very dangerous, because it causes another thing that many people can can notice on that time, right?
Absolutely. It can cause tsunamis. It can cause landslides on mountains. Now, in this particular situation, New York City, the concrete jungle. I mean, I guess based on this little earthquake, I guess the buildings were pretty strong to hold it, even though it was a smaller earthquake. But if there was a stronger earthquake in New York, kind of how you mentioned, like Peru, it wouldn't go well because of all of the buildings that are there. Too many buildings. And I know they're built strong, but if an earthquake is too strong, even then, it might still be catastrophic. So even with earthquakes, it's not a thing that, at least for me, I'm in Florida, so we worry more about hurricanes. But even like for an earthquake, what do you do? I mean, the first thing you have to do is get out of from inside somewhere. But then you got to watch the floor because the floor can also open up. I've seen cars get swallowed in by the ground. There's a lot of things you got to look out for. Like you mentioned, tsunamis, landslides, and then everybody's in chaos. So luckily, it wasn't a big earthquake that happened in the northeast of America, but it was enough to wake everyone up.
But
Maybe like,
you know that the country more prepared to this is Japan. I see that in Japan, for example, it's very usually that earthquake happens, and it's normal, right? I see that the video where people is doing, oh, an earthquake, and people is normal, oh yes, earthquake, everything move and stop. People continue. Because the structure is so good building, it's so well building that they don't have to care too much. But here in Peru is different, right? Because everyone's know that they are building, it's going to suffer something and it's going to destroy, and many people enter in panic, and that the culture is totally different. But if you see Japan, for example, it's like, wow, it's amazing when Peruvian people see Japan, because their earthquake it's stronger than here, but still they are so prepared that it's like nothing happened.
yeah,
We have stuff to learn from them.
I think Japan is very resilient. They've been through so much that they're ready for anything at this point.
Yes, I like Japanese. I like.
But man, prayers to the world. I know we're in strange times. Yesterday, again, these earthquakes are now giving some weight to those conspiracies. Now, oh yeah, you see the earthquake, the solar eclipse, it's over now. So, but again, this just could be Mother Nature's way of saying, hey, wake up, wake up. Anybody out there sleeping, anybody, wake up and appreciate life. You have a
You
certain amount of time to be the best person you can be. Sometimes God sends these messages, might shake up your world real quick so you can become prepared and get ready. What's up, Eduardo? I see your face of
do you
concern.
think that earthquake have to be with a global warming? It's related. Personally, do you think?
I mean, it's possible. I think earthquakes are like I mentioned. We had the Pangea. I want to say millions and millions of years ago. So it's inevitable that these changes happen. Think of you as a person. You grow, bones grow, skin grows, hair grows, teeth grow, changes happen. You have your own little earthquakes inside of you. And this, in order for like I mentioned when we were talking last week, a mountain is when the ground comes together and it creates this. A star is a supernova that blow up. Sometimes we need interruption and disruption in order to grow. We need it. Because if we remain in this little comfort zone all the time, we'll stay there. We'll die there. But we need to grow. We need to get better. Um, some people in the chat asking you, Eduardo, where were you last week? Where you been these days? Shout out to Oh Yeah. I'm just gonna keep it. Oh Yeah, I don't want to mispronounce the rest of your name. Shout out to Joko. Welcome back. Join game. We're doing great. Glad to see everyone. All right, man. Love this chat crowd. Love you guys every week. And just one more last fun fact before we get out of here. So the total solar eclipse takes like a little path diagonally across the US. In 2017, we had another solar eclipse. and it took a different path, like the opposite, from like Washington to Florida. So these two paths made like an X on the United States. And in the middle of the X is a town called Makanda, Illinois. Now, Makanda, Illinois has a state park called Giant City State Park. Coincidentally. Now, what they're saying is in this park, there has been sightings of giant beings, they say. I've never been there. So they're saying that the eclipse paths happen to be right over this park where these giant beings might be. Just something I heard. Like I said, I can't confirm this or not, but with this solar eclipse, there are a lot of conspiracies. There are a lot of stories. Now, my word to everyone is, if you can't control it, I wouldn't worry about it too much. We're here to learn. We're here just to have a conversation. We're practicing our English. I don't want anybody to leave this live stream like nervous or afraid. Don't worry. If you have God with you, you're unstoppable. And just leave it at that. The world will change, things will happen, but you remain true to who you are and you'll be fine. Again, this is not, some people call it fear porn, and you go on YouTube, everybody's like, oh no, the world's gonna end. Look, everything has its time already. And you can give yourself peace with that. Things will happen when they need to. What do you think, Eduardo?
Yes, you're right. You're right. With all of these changes, why I asked you this, returning to our first conversation, why I asked you about how the earthquake is connected with climate change, if you think that it's connected. It's because the other time I read an article in BBV Open Mind, that it's a page where they show you many discoveries, many articles. And there was a person that it was Bill McGeary, I think that the person. He, for example, say that earthquake is relating with a climate change because the ice in the Antarctica and the other continents, it's melting, and this affects the pressure on the surface, and like this affects many other things. Like for example, melting this layer ice affect the course of the weather in the ocean, and it could be related to earthquake because you have less pressure on the earth, and it can facilitate more earthquakes that happens. I don't know the exact relation, but it's related. So it's very interesting what he said, right? So it could be the cause that now we are going to suffer more and more earthquakes, and I don't know if it is going to increase through the melting of the ice, but the rapid ice lows provoke this happiness so often. So we have to see these events. If okay, people have to study more, right? But it could be a possibility. Of course, yes, you're right. So everything can happen suddenly. So we have to be prepared. We have to be resilient. We have to be very resilient. We have to be very conscious that all that is going to happen now, it's going to be changed quickly, because we live in this kind of world where everything will change quickly, and we have to be prepared. We have to adapt. Sometimes I feel and I think, oh, the food on the world is going to finish soon because there are many people, overpopulation. There are many, lack of resource because of contamination or climate change. So it could be, we have to find a way to face this problem quickly, like society. And we have to be very conscious of this, and you have to know that we have to be prepared for everything.
I agree, Eduardo. They've been talking about the end of the world since I was a little kid. This conversation is ongoing. They're always going to try to scare you and find something to push a negative agenda onto you. But like I said, man, be strong, walk in love, keep God first, and we'll be all right. But I'm going to go ahead and start closing down. Again, much love to everybody in the chat, everybody around the world listening. We come together to discuss different topics. Not experts, but consider us just friends in your living room talking about things that are going on, allowing you guys a chance to also, like I said, practice English, practice communication, practice conversation. This is the conversation that is taking place around the world, and nothing is more connecting everyone around the world right now than this total eclipse. If you're gonna go and try to look at it, please get safety goggles, safety glasses. Please don't hurt your eyes over trying to see the sun. It's not worth it. But much love to all of you. I'm going to put my final little message here in the chat for you all. Let me see. All right, Eduardo, any final words before we get out of here?
Well, I once again wants to thank you for inviting me. It's always to me a pleasure to add value to your podcast, to describe topic that maybe can, can get interesting in people, can get attention from people. So it's very funny, and I like people participate. They can let our comments if they want. We read some comment. They can write, and they can give their opinion, because it's enrich our conversation. And thank you very much. Have a very good weekend, and be prepared for everything.
Thank you, Eduardo. We all missed you last week, but I promised them we're going to try our best to keep it going every single week. So I wish everyone a great weekend. Enjoy time with your family. Take some time to rest. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out the shop so you can stay updated on all things. And with that being said, friends, I'm going to let y'all go. And we're out of here.